talk to you guys about that last game. First off, we had an Annie this time for Gambit, so Edward playing it, and versus Leona and the other team. And I wanted to talk to you about that Doublelift because you mentioned how it was harder to predict where Leona would fall. That would be better for her as the game went on, but it didn't seem that way.
Well, I mean, you saw earlier in the game, Leona got a lot more picks off than Annie did. I think it's just so much harder to predict where Leona is and then respect the fact that she can just ult you wherever. And she got a lot of picks off. Honestly, she killed Alex twice, almost I think twice, and then just kept picking people off throughout the game. But Annie, like I said, she's probably more consistent overall, and especially in lane. You saw Zuna fall really behind in lane, like 30 to 40 CS down, just because Annie provides so much more lane pressure than Leona. Just inherently, she has more range and kill potential. And that lane just kind of snowballed, and you just saw Annie become a monster late game. And Edward just played better than Bloodwater, honestly, so it's not really an accurate representation of the supports.
Oh, well, how the game progressed, if we compare it to game 1, in the first game we saw that it was an early lead for XDG that they then lost in team fights. In game 2, it was Gambit that had the early lead, but then kind of dropped the ball. They seemed to be getting caught everywhere, or was that a strategy from XDG?
I think it was really XDG setting that up. The key factor, I think, here was actually Xmithy's Lee Sin. So he went Magic Razor, and he went Sightstone. He went to Ruby Sightstone, maybe it's a little bit overkill. But basically, the casters kept talking about all the vision control here for XDG, all the pick-off potential, and you've got Syndra, repeatable range stun, Leona, low cooldown ultimate, repeatable range initiation with the Zenith Blade and whatnot, and then of course Lee Sin himself going up there and starting fights, and you saw this mid-game sort of period where over and over and over again, XDG is just making kills happen, and they got 4 or 5 in a row just picking people up across the map, and that's what Sightstone Razor Lee Sin does. Now, the problem is that kind of pushed forward, and the team fighting happened, and that got a lot worse.
So since the most recent changes to vision, it's a lot harder to take away the enemy's vision. So when they start snowballing, and they're putting down their trinket wards, and you don't have that many reds, maybe the Gambit almost got 0. I think they had none throughout the whole game. They had no red trinkets, so no way to really remove vision. And you have this Lee Sin who's popping wards everywhere to ward jump and just provide vision for his team. You can kind of keep snowballing off of getting 1 kill, just put wards out on the map and wait for them to show up in a bad spot, kill them again. And then Gambit was finally, after they got killed 10 times, they're like, okay, we're not going to overextend anymore. We're not going to play stupid. Let's just group up and team fight and win. So they did.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an example of one of those team fights that Gambit played a lot better than XDG.
Yeah, so we have a replay of kind of these teams' team fight priorities. If we can get that on your screen. And the weird thing is, so XDG tried really hard a few times in a row to dive Edward. And their team's not that good at diving, actually. If you look at the lineup on the right-hand side, Shyvana's okay, Lee Sin's okay, Syndra never reached, and Sivir never brought anyone in there, really. Where on the other side, Gambit's got Riven and Warwick, and that's really painful. So let's roll the clip out, and now watch the initiation for XDG, because they go really hard for Edward. And they try, and they deal some damage, but pause right here, because look, he flashed and gets kicked out by Lee Sin. Even without the kick, though, he's still at half HP because no one could follow up. But look what Darian's done. He's just started his Warwick ultimate onto ManCloud's Syndra. Now, one other thing I want to point out is Zuna put on a spell shield on his Sivir. He saw the Warwick coming, spell shielded what would have been a possible initiation, and so the focus is actually on the unprotected Syndra, who has no peel, the entire rest of XDG is overextended, and Riven's about there to follow up to kill him off.
Yeah, and the biggest thing here is that Leona had blown all of her abilities to try to insta-gib the Annie. In the first game, Gambit insta-gibbed Bloodwater's Annie over and over again before she could get any spells off. But this game, you saw Edward play really smart. He doesn't even have a gold pretend. He just went all items to help him survive and help him fight. So he didn't die, and because of that, they blew everything, and they don't have any peel for Warwick's ulti. ManCloud's going to get full ulti here and just die.
Yeah, so let's roll the rest of the clip out right here. You're going to see ManCloud get destroyed a little bit. You see Leona try to initiate back in, but at this point, it's bad target prioritization, and you've got just 2 frontline fighters, Diamond's Elise as well as Darian's Warwick. They just get to put down very good persistent damage when they're not peeled off, when the core burst mage has been removed, and when you've got an AD carry like Sivir, who's I think less of a duelist and more of team utility. It's a bit harder to remove those guys, and Gambit just had better team fighting.
And we saw also in that fight afterwards, Alex cleaned up on Riven, but it isn't that ManCloud played a bad game again.
No, ManCloud's been really good, and that's why when you asked at the beginning, what's a key matchup you think is going to go really badly in one way? And I was like, well, probably the jungle because I think Diamond's a better innovator. Where this mid lane matchup went equal or was won by ManCloud in both these games. Not many people get to say, I beat Alex Ich in lane, so I got to give props there. He deserves it.
Yeah, he played really solid throughout the whole game. My one like kind of concern is when you're that far ahead, I think it's kind of unnecessary to go Deathfire Grasp. I think this game he especially should have gotten like an Hourglass. I mean, he's up against Warwick and Riven. You have to kind of expect that you're going to get Zerg down. I thought his item builds were kind of questionable, but overall, yeah, he played really well. I mean, he beat Alex Ich. He's one of the best mid laners in EU.
All right, so Doublelift, this XDG is of course a team you're going to be up against. What is your opinion on their performance overall?
Just how I expected. I definitely expected Gambit to win, like I said. Their bot lane just went the way that I thought. I mean, they were just getting disrespected. Like, support Amumu, even after in the interview, they're like, it's not that good. We're just like, whatever. Why did you pick it if it's not that good? Well, it's like, it's almost disrespectful, in my opinion. And then top lane, Darien just has, what, 3 years of experience, where Psycho Sid has like 1. Mid lane actually just surprised me. I definitely thought that Alex Ich was going to get the better of ManCloud, but it ended up being the opposite.
Right, well, thank you very much. And with their win, of course, Gambit has secured 2 more